All right, everybody. I want to talk to you about something. You got a couple minutes? Cool, cool. I want to talk to you about before and after moments. So before, and what I mean by that is before you were this, something happened, and then you became this, and you could no longer be that because you're this, and there's no way of going back because something changed. I'm gonna give you a couple stories real quick. And it's really weird because my second podcast, I do that one because I wanted to, that's why I did all the interviews, and I'll do future interviews. I've always been one of those people that people will talk to. Even when I was younger, people would come and talk to me about stuff they wouldn't even talk to their families about, which was kind of weird to me, especially when I was younger, because I've traveled across the country a few times on the bus, and every single time I run across a few people who would wind up sitting next to me telling me stuff I didn't ask, giving me information I didn't need, but they needed to talk. And apparently, even when I was younger, I looked like somebody that would listen. And they just needed somebody to listen most of the time. So I did. And I started to notice a pattern. Everybody that changed their life, there was always a before, then something happened, and then they became that. And that's what happens to everybody. Everybody. As a middle aged man, my current state, I'm at a donut shop buying some coffee, right? I see a guy there who's sitting is in a donut shop. He's sitting on the floor. And you got any money? And I was like, you know what, man? Normally I try to be cool if I don't have the money in my pocket because I've learned a long time ago when I was younger. I was in the subway of my town, my hometown, and some guy asked me for some change, some money, and I didn't know he was with three or four dudes. And he goes, "You got a couple bucks?" And I said, "Oh, not on me, not right now. I don't got any change." You never say that. You just go no and keep moving. Because when I said not right now, I don't have any change, he goes, "I'll follow you to get some change." And I'm looking at the guy, and then the other guy, and then there was like, I think it's like four dudes come towards me, and then I had to be more aggressive to let them know, yeah, this ain't gonna happen. Because whatever amount of money you think you're going to get, it's not gonna help you with your hospital bills. So you might want to sit back down. And I was serious, right? But it was my mistake for saying that because I should have just said no, right? So normally I don't carry a lot of money on me, but this particular time I had a couple of $1 bills in my pocket. So it was cool for me to dig in my pocket, get the couple bucks, and give it to the dude because I didn't have to pull a 20 out, maybe get robbed or have him follow me around because that's happened to other people I know. So I gave him the bread. There's another guy on the other side who was roughly my age, probably in his late 40s. I was early 50s. So I was a little bit older than him, right? And he goes, "That was pretty nice of you, man. You're a nice dude, man. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice." And he said that, and I'm going, okay, here we go. Here we go. Here comes the story. But I'm not sorry that I heard it. I'm not at all. Hey man, you gotta understand what my life used to be, man. I wasn't I wasn't what I am now, man. I'm a family man. Got my kids, man. Got my house. See that car over there? I'm like, hey, nice car. That's mine, man. I bought that with my money from my job, man. My good, hard working, honest man money. Hard working, honest man money. And I'm going, you said honest man money a whole bunch of times, man. Why? Come on, man. You know what I'm talking about. I said, no. He goes, and then he tells me his story. He used to be a salesperson. You understand what I'm saying? And let's just say the product that he was selling wasn't exactly healthy for his customers. You understand what I'm saying? And unfortunately for him, as when he tried to expand his sales territory, some of the other salespeople weren't too fond of the idea. And what did they do? Well, they decided to be nice to him and give him some gifts about this big at a high rate of speed and at a whole bunch at a time. A high rate of speed, a whole bunch at a time. And on occasion, if they got close enough, they'd donate some metal to him again with a handle on it at close range. And it happened to him several times. In addition to the other salespeople not being a big fan of him moving territory to their territory, some other people also were not fond of his sales. They followed him around on occasion in cars with blue and red lights on the top of them. And every once in a while, when they were displeased with his sales, they would help him by relocating him to a large building with bars on the windows and walls. Have I made myself clear yet? Have I spelled it out yet? Do you get what I'm saying? Of course you do. And that was his life before, and something happens. He met a nice lady, and he was trying to get out of that life. He was trying to get over here, but he couldn't. He was here, but he couldn't get here. And he wanted to save her. He didn't want her to be having to worry about them donating pieces of metal to her at a high rate of speed. He didn't want that. He didn't want anything to happen to her. So he kind of was trying to get out of that life. But there was something about her that kept pulling him in. Some time passes, and that nice lady who he wanted to leave that particular lifestyle for, he couldn't quite do it, told him she was having a baby. Ooh. He was here, wanted to get here. Now he went from here to about there. Almost there, couldn't quite do it. Then one day, a little while afterwards, they do the ultrasound. You're going to have a baby girl. Boop, boom. For those of you listening and not watching, he now moved to the after phase of his life. He knew he didn't want to do that anymore, couldn't do it anymore, couldn't let anything happen to that woman that he loved, couldn't let, yeah, definitely can't let anything happen to his little baby girl. So he got out of that life. Wasn't easy. When he tried to leave, his other salespeople that were working with him on sales decided maybe he shouldn't leave. Maybe we should donate to him too. But fortunately for him, he was able to get out of that and become the person that's in front of me now, because now I'm working a good job, making good money, real good money, save money, job money, not street money. And he was giving me details about what happened to him, about he actually pulled up his shirt and showed me where he got the donations of metal. You dig? And I'm not going to say what his chest and abdomen look like, but if you've ever stepped on an Oreo cookie on a hot day, that's what it looked like. That's how many donations he got over the course of time. But he's married now to that lady, that nice lady. He's got a little girl who's now a young lady. And he said that he almost cried talking to me. He did 90% of 95% of the talking. He almost cried talking to me. Why? Because he was realizing that at any one of those times, any one of those donations, he could have been visiting relatives that he never met because they passed on to the other side before he was born. And you know how you only meet relatives that have passed on one way, right? You know what I'm talking about. Before, after, different dude, not the same guy. And in some ways, I can understand that. Now, I've never done anything that would make the people with the red and the blue lights want to do anything to me. I've never been I've been escorted to the house with the bars, never done anything like that, never built up enemies because, I don't do that crap. But I do know what it's like before and after. I was told by my older relatives, which is weird as a content creator and a retired professional stand-up comic. It's weird to find out that if you asked older relatives who knew me as a child and as a young person, I was painfully shy. And I mean pain. Didn't talk to people who didn't live in the house with me. Could read early, could do math early, extremely intelligent, but didn't want to talk to people because I was shy. Don't know why. Became an adolescent. Same thing. Very, very shy. Scared of everybody. Couldn't talk to girls. I was worse than Raj on that show, Big Bang Theory. I was worse than that. There was a girl when I was younger that I thought was the most beautiful human being that ever walked the face of the earth. I wanted to be with her so bad. This is a very young man, teenager. I wanted to be with her so bad. It wasn't even about physical anything. I mean, that was there too, but I just wanted her in my life. I wanted her in my life. Every time I looked at her, I was happy because she existed on the planet at the same time that I did. I'm not even kidding. That's exactly how I felt. Couldn't articulate it back then, but that's how I felt. I remember what that felt like. I also remember what it looked like to look out the window. I was supposed to be getting ready to go to school, and I knew she was going to be leaving at the same time every day. And she would walk by, and I would look out the window, and I'm going, oh, most beautiful human being I had seen in my life at that point. And I found that she was a sweet girl too. Go to a party, and I was afraid to dance. Still not a big fan of it unless I'm just having a good time. And she walked up to me to ask me to dance. Do you know why? I was so afraid. She walked away disappointed. I found out she liked me too. I found that out later when we met as adults. Is that you, Anthony? Yeah. Oh my God, you used to be so shy. I saw you on television. I did national television a couple times. I saw you on television. I heard you on the radio. I'm not famous. I never became famous, but I did a few things. I can't believe it. You doing that? If somebody would have told me you were gonna stand on stage and tell jokes to people, I would have flipped out. That is crazy. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Now she's married with children, right? But she tells me, oh, the things she tells me. Just as a nostalgic thing, she wasn't hitting on me. She was happily married. I had a girlfriend at the time. I wasn't looking for nobody or anything like that. She tells me how she thought I was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm looking out the window with her walking by, and I'm dreaming about her being my woman. And guess what happened? She would watch me and wish I was her dude. Opportunity blown. Now we could have just been teenage boyfriend and girlfriend. She could have gone her way. I could have gone my way, or something else could have happened. Who knows? I did an audition for the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival a long time ago. I got a card from a guy who it turns out was a big deal. I didn't know it at the time. I thought it was bull stuff. Man, he ain't nobody because I didn't know any better. Found out later he was a big deal. Never pursued it because I didn't think I was good. Nobody cares about me like that. There was a special television program that I was going to be. I'm not going to say what it was, but it was a really big time program. Missed out on it because I was afraid. Oh, I don't know. Nobody will like me. I'm not good enough. It doesn't matter the fact that I'm getting standing ovations and people are chanting my name. I'm still not good enough. Oh, how that poison just follows you around. And I got stuck in the before. Even this, YouTube and podcasting. I didn't want to be on camera. I haven't lost all the weight yet. I remember what it was like to be in shape. I'm a middle-aged man who's losing the weight. I don't look as good as I could. I'm going to look a year from now or 6 months from now. I don't like the way I look on camera. I remember what it was like when people called me handsome. Only women that call me handsome now are the ones that I'm dating who get to know me. I mean, that's all right. I get it. I was afraid to come on camera. For what? So I know you can relate to that. A lot of you, just like me, there's a whole part of your life, whole part of who you are right here, stuck in this garbage. But I don't have problems talking to girls now. And I mean none. Because I realize if they say they're not interested, who cares? I'm not going to be impolite and go, it was nice meeting you. It's a pleasure to meet you. Yeah, yeah. You take care now. That's all. I'm not going to get mean, even if they got mean with their chin. Most women are not going to be mean. They just get rid of me because they're not interested. But even if they're mean, what they got to do? What's it got to do with me? I'm going to be mean back, change who I am? No. So when it comes to women, I went from here to here. When I did stand-up comic, I was a damn good one. I went from here to here. There was a moment I talked about it. I don't know which podcast I talked about it on, but I talked about it. Had my only ever panic attack. I had never performed in front of a big crowd before at that point. I was still a teenager. And the largest crowd I had performed in front of before that was about 20. I go into this place, it's full. A top comedy club in my hometown, full. The comics that were there, grown men on stage, been doing it for a while. Some of them been doing it for 10, 12 years at that point. So they're daggone good and blowing that place out. Did I mention the place was full? I did. It was full. I'd never been in front of that many people before. I think it was a couple hundred. I went from 15 to 20 people that were spread out to a packed club and people killing. And my number was coming up. And I'm here. And I started. I mean, you ever seen the panic attack in a movie? It was dun, 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 dun. That's exactly what that crap felt like. And I ran down the steps and I started walking down the alleyway to go back to the subway, to go home, home, home. I got halfway down there. I said, man, if you get to the end of this block and you get on that subway, you're never coming back here. Boom. Before. So you got to find out, dude. Turn around and walk your punk behind back. Get up those steps. If you bomb, you don't know these people. They'll never see you again. They won't remember you. You won't be the first person that bombed. And then you'll just go home. Don't worry about it. Walk back up the steps. I can hear whoever's on stage is haymaker after haymaker, great jokes. Yeah. MC walks up to me. Hey, man. It's like, we were looking for you. You're next. Keep in mind, the guy before, yeah, this next guy, he's a kid, right? He's starting out. Here he is, and says my name, and I walk on the stage. And I look out, and there's a whole bunch of people. Everybody at least 10 years older than me who have actual lives and wives and husbands and children and responsibility and 401ks and jobs and all of that crap, and my punk behind is standing on stage. I'm gonna make these people that don't know me laugh. What are you, nuts? But I'm gonna try. First joke, second bit, third bit, I'm killing. Walk off the stage, they're chanting, they're clapping, getting pats on the back from the other comics. Good job, kid. After, I was never afraid enough not to go on stage again. And I haven't done stand up in a long time. I could walk on stage right now and do a half an hour. I don't have any material because I haven't written any for a new act yet. I have bulk stuff that I just write in general, but I haven't formed it into stand up comedy. I could do a half an hour right now. No problem. And I know this. Now, will it be a full, high quality A plus, as Anthony Thomas said? No, it'll be a C, but I'm not afraid. Move from before to after. And that moment on stage was the thing that changed. Just like that guy having a wife and a kid changed everything. When it comes to YouTube and podcasting and putting my too heavy behind with the soft ass neck on and the gap tooth, not 6 feet tall, over 200-pound behind on camera in front of a whole lot of people, I was afraid. And then I said, wait a second, man. If the teenage version of you who ran down the steps in his hometown and almost punked out of doing stand-up comedy walked down the street, stopped, said to yourself, don't even think about it. Get up those steps and find out. If that kid can do that, then the middle-aged version of him, me, can do this. And that's why your online unk, S. Anthony, Mr. S. Anthony Thomas, is on screen on camera right now. Before and after. I'm gonna have fun doing this. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna have fun podcasting. I'm having fun right now. I'm hoping there's a bunch of people watching this when I upload it. But just think about that for a minute. There's something gonna happen to you. There's a thing that you're here and you're trying to get here. Now you can methodically take yourself from point A to point B. You can do that. But odds are something's gonna happen. And it's gonna flip the switch. And you're gonna move from there to there. And you're never gonna go back there again. Like when I get in shape this time, you think I'm gonna get fat again? Are you crazy? Hell no. You think I'm ever gonna be afraid to be online talking in front of people with a microphone in front of me ever again? Hell no. And when I decide to do stand-up comedy again, think I'm gonna be afraid to stand on stage and tell jokes to a crowd? Hell no. And if I meet the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life and she gives me that look, think I'm gonna be afraid to walk over there, say, hi, my name's S. Anthony. You're beautiful. Can I talk to you? Would you mind if I sit down? Think I'm gonna be afraid? Think I'm gonna be afraid of that? Hell no. It's not a lot of things I'm afraid of anymore. Before, after. And the few things that I am afraid of, I'm gonna take them from before to after. You can bet on that. So I hope if you're stuck in any befores, whether it's a circumstance that pushes you to the after, or whether it's methodical work and effort, I hope you get there. It's fun there. And I look forward to seeing you there. And I look forward to seeing you on my next video. So subscribe to the channel. If you listen to the podcast, subscribe to the podcast if it's audio. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe there too. You dig? Of course you do. Unc S.